Welcome to my channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. I am starting this project where I'm going to basically just ramble and talk about some different topics, semi-personal to myself, maybe a few things that I just observe, and my goal is to do an episode a day. So today I just want to talk about why I started my channel and why I do things the way that I do on my channel. So when I first discovered tarot, I was using it as a way for self-discovery. It was a therapist for me when I could not afford to see a therapist. I still can't afford to see a therapist, but it's very helpful because it has allowed me to just get a glimpse inside of myself in ways that I really didn't know how to prior to that. It's also really allowed me to kind of expand more into like my right brain and to become more creative, more like in tune with my artistic and creative side. And it really, as I found myself becoming more comfortable with that, I wanted to find a way to put the two together and kind of express that in a way. So this is why I, in this channel, use my tarot in conjunction with creative videos, and I also will make music mashups and remixes and try to connect that with whatever the reading was that I did for that month. So it's like this whole cycle of processing for me. Very cathartic, and also it's a way for me also to connect with others who may be finding themselves on a similar frequency and see how it is that my soul chooses to express that creatively. You know, if you've ever read cards for yourself and you own your own deck, and chances are that you probably do if you're on a tarot channel like this anyway, you know that the energies can cover a huge population or segment of a population, but each individual is going to resonate with it just a little bit differently. So like two people can hear the same thing and totally get different meaning from it. And to me, it's kind of a challenge. I felt like it was a challenge to be like in an energy, like almost swimming in an energy, but then to authentically really try to connect and present it in a way that feels like beautiful to my soul, or what resonates with the way that I'm saying it or how I process it. And there's just something really beautiful to me about sharing that also, and like having another person, regardless of what their journey is or how they're processing it, to just be able to also view it and partake of it, just in that moment, and maybe glean some meaning for themselves, So prior to this, I actually had another channel. And when I first started this channel, it was great. Like I literally jumped from 25 people to like 2,000 plus in 3 weeks. The growth on this channel has been much slower. And the funny thing is I actually put more effort and more work into this channel than I did into the other. Like I totally did the readings, and I think part of the difference is that I actually have video showing a portion of my person. Like you could see my hand, you could see my cards. I did the whole thing. I would always use like my laptop camera, and it would be so grainy and whatever, but people still loved it, and it worked out, and it was good. And I think it's like that connection, like people want to be able to see the person, and it's like you push so much energy through these types of things that, when you can connect it with a portion of a being that looks like you at some level, it's like the human element, you just connect better sometimes. But I had to walk away from that because I did not have it as anonymously as I would have liked. And so when I was, in my beginning stages of the channel, like I shared with so many people, like friends and family and just different people. And they knew I had the channel, even though I wasn't showing myself. But it created some weird circumstances for me because, when I was doing my readings, you pick up the energy of people around you. And so you can easily pick up storylines and things that you don't personally have a knowledge of, but the individuals who watching might think that you do. And they might feel like you are reading them to filth, okay? And the truth is, you're not. Like, you don't know that this is this person's secret thing. This is this person's situation they're going through. You're not trying to put them on blast, but they're watching it, so they're picking it up. And then it's just, it's one of those things. And then, not everybody that would support a tarot channel or support this type of work understands the mechanics of it and understands that it's actually not personal and that, it's energies and it's going to hit different people. And this might be your story, but it's also this person's story. And we don't realize just how connected we really, really are. And just how much of the events that happen in our lives truly overlap. And we just all have a different meaning for it. In those kinds of circumstances, you can find yourself in some real weird social situations. So push come to shove, like I made a decision to shut that channel down with all the people I had on there. And even still, like, it's been almost 2 years since I stopped posting and I made all the videos private on there. And I, let people know I'm going to start another channel in the future and it's going to probably be more artistic. It's going to be this and that and do this other thing. And I still have more people on that channel with no videos than I do on this one. But the thing for me is the freedom that comes from like actual anonymity. And even if, it's not so much that I just want to hide and be like this thing, like nobody knows. It's more so because it allows me the vulnerability to connect and really say what is on my heart to say. Whereas if I knew in the back of my mind that someone, like a family member, since then I've shared with a few family members so they know, but if I knew there were people watching that might pick it up and get a wrong impression, not so much about me, but read or hear what I'm saying wrong and think that I'm talking about them or whatever, that is very hindering. And I was beginning to feel that way. Like, I just felt like I had to be more policed and like restricted. And I love to be able to like have a free spirited energy. Like, I love to just go there, It feels good to have that creative expression. And with something like this, when you're marrying the two, it's just that thin line. So this allows me to kind of guard my energy a bit and give purely like from a soul place and just really, really just do this work. And it's, like I said, when you're reading it, it's almost like it's been a form of therapy for me. Sometimes my stuff gets intertwined in it. Sometimes it's not mine, but sometimes I know what to say because I've experienced it before and I know what I'm looking at. And so you can add more to it. And I really, really relish being able to have a sense of freedom in doing that. And so I really appreciate that opportunity to do that. And it was so totally worth it. Even if it meant I had to shut my other channel down and have less viewers and stuff, I find the opportunity to even be able to do this is just so worth it. And more importantly, I'm in the vibration like I want to be on. And it kind of ebbs and flows. And I love that it just feels authentic. It feels authentic to my natural cycles and like how I'm processing the energies at the time and so on. I would say, like, if there's anything in life that you feel comfortable with like that, and you can just kind of lose yourself in it and be expressive, like, it is such a freeing thing. Like, and I feel like it's even more important now because we just don't have that many opportunities in our culture these days to really do that. And it's becoming poo-pooed a bit. And so if you can hold on to that, let your light shine a bit, then totally go for it. Find that space, relish that space, protect that space, create that space for yourself. And even if it's just you looking at it, like, do it, because at some level, subconsciously, you know that you're doing it. And it's almost, you will get the same benefit internally as if you were able to have lots of people viewing it or whatever the case. I would say that especially right now in this time where there's lots of shadow banning and blocking and, lots of things where people are feeling as if they can't be expressive, they can't be who they are because no one's going to get to see it. Well, the question I would say that you could ask yourself is what I'm saying only important if other people hear it? Is my expression of who I am and how I am viewing a circumstance only of value if somebody else is looking at it and reflecting back to me that it means something of value to them? Or is the value in the action that I'm taking and the process of creating, the process of expression, and me knowing that I am doing this in this moment, I'm being true to myself? And what are the rewards for that intrinsically? And how does that change and shift things? And is it worth it? And, in my journey, in my path, like, I have to say, yeah, like, it's so worth it. I can see things shift around for myself just in taking that step to be creative and allow myself that expression of soul, and there's just something so honoring about that, and so just self-affirming, that just creates more space to want to do that. And then I see it rippling out into like other aspects of my life. So that's what I would say to anyone who's been thinking about that. Like, if you have been, that sense of feeling restricted and I can only show up like this and I can only show up like that. I remember a time in my life where I felt completely controlled by that. And a lot of that has to do with my gender and my ethnicity. It was just a way of life. It was a way of life to feel like, if I don't do this, I don't show up like this, and I don't do like that, I'm not going to get this, I'm not going to get that. No one's going to appreciate, no one's going to do that. And it was very restrictive, a very restrictive way to live. And there was always a lot of consequence involved with just existing as I was. And it was such a norm and such a part of reality that it didn't seem like there was any other option. And looking back now, that some of that has kind of been busted open a bit and it's not quite that way, I can see the damage done to my soul and who I am as a person to have to fit and shoehorn myself into that kind of space. And beyond just the external of like how I look or what I fit into category wise, internally, what that did for me and what it taught me and what I was telling myself and training myself to be like. And it's funny because it's like I see that and I see that as being such a part of so many people's lives that they feel like they have to live that way. And then to be now in a space where it's kind of jumped up a level. So it seems like it's like, oh, you can be this, you can be that. It's okay. But then at another level, it's the same energy, this restrictive sense of, you can't show up like this. If you do this, then you're not going to get that. And no one's going to give you this and no one's going to get that. And if you want to be able to, then it's that. And it's the same kind of energy, You feel me? So yeah, this is just my first episode, just quick one, get in, get out, maybe 15 minutes, just kind of go down a rabbit trail. Maybe next time I'll talk about rabbit trails and like where that came from and what that means for me. I'm gonna actually write that down so I can remember, because I'll talk about it next time. That's a huge part of my processing, is I am very much a rabbit trail kind of person, if you couldn't tell. So, anywho, thanks for listening in if you made it this far, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.